17, 2016. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. There's been some significant news regarding American International Group, or AIG. Two of their most prominent activist investors have changed their holdings in the insurance giant. Icahn has increased his stake in AIG by over 5%. He's now up to 44.4 million shares. Meanwhile, John Paulson, another activist investor, has reduced his stake in the company by about 3.2%. He's down to about 11.2 million shares. Both investors have been vocal proponents of the argument that a split of the company would help AIG rid itself of the regulatory burden of being designated a systemically important financial institution. And they've also complained about AIG's management, specifically Peter Hancock, the CEO. Hancock was overwhelmingly elected to the board last week at the company's annual general meeting. Meanwhile, some of the concerns of the activist investors may be being addressed. The company has entered into talks with a number of legacy companies about the disposal of a $5 billion back-year property and casualty book. Sources have told the Insurance Insider that AIG has already provided high-level information and initiated sales talks with the handful of legacy companies that are big enough to take on the liabilities that are held in the subsidiary that AIG created called Eagleton Re for all of the legacy or runoff business. Only 5 legacy players have the required scale or backing to take on a business that has liabilities that are approximately $4 billion. Those are Berkshire Hathaway, Enstar, Swiss Re, Riverstone, and Catalina. Also, apparently, in addition to the Eaglestone properties, AIG has initiated dialogues with the legacy companies on finding solutions for other now defunct portfolios. It's understood that, like with most major insurers with ongoing live operations, AIG is keen to guard itself against the potential reputational risk that can result from a legacy acquirer taking an overzealous or aggressive approach to claims handling. Sources have speculated that Berkshire and Swiss are the most likely parties to take on Eaglestone Re. The thing with this kind of business is that you transfer the responsibility for the claims to the legacy carrier, you make a one-time premium payment to them, and then you can wipe those liabilities off your books. But the legacy carrier then is in charge of handling those claims, and if they remain your customers, that can prove problematic. Some 8,000 workers at oil camps north of Fort McMurray in Alberta, Canada, were ordered to evacuate late last night as authorities continued to bring that big wildfire under control. The mandatory evacuation zone was now extended 30 miles north of the city. Suncor, one of the major oil companies working in the oil sand region, issued a release late Monday confirming that it had, quote, started a staged and orderly withdrawal of our base plant operations. The workers have been trying to restart oil production at the facilities after they were halted by the fires. Crews continued to battle hot spots. Apparently the air quality in the whole region is appalling and people are being required to wear respirators. At a conference in London earlier today, the CEO of Marsh, the big broker, Mark Wheel, said that the gap between real and perceived coverage for cyber risks among CEOs of top financial firms could prove to be a big problem in the event of a cyber loss. He said that 50% of CEOs surveyed by Marsh believed they had adequate cyber coverage, but in fact only 10% of them were covered to the extent that they believed. While said, we note that a lot of CEOs think that they're covered. The reality is that most are not. He said many policies have become outdated and that ambiguous wording caused problems for customers as their cyber cover lacked the clarity needed for large-scale protection. He went on to say the fundamental issue is quite a lot of the insurance policies were worded and written at a point in time when cyber was at best nascent, and so whether it's covered or not is somewhat implicit. He warned that the implicitness could present problems both for the claimant and that they could be denied, as well as for the insurer, who could be on the hook if the judgment was found against them. Speaking at the same conference was the former head of British intelligence, Sir Ian Loban, who said he believes cyber risks should not be viewed as a point of competition, but rather one that demanded collaboration with the industry. At least 17 students have died in Indonesia at a landslide near a popular tourist site in the northern part of Sumatra Island. They were part of a group of 70 people visiting the Dwa Warna waterfall at Subalanjit. 5 people are still missing. The big drought in India has begun to cause insurance ramifications. Insurance claims made by farmers in Maharashtra state alone against crop losses are now coming in at about $613 million, the highest since 1999. About 3 million more farmers insured for winter crops have yet to make claims, but this is probably going to increase the figure by about 50%. Officials say this number could just be an indicator of the real economic losses because current insurance schemes only cover about 60% of losses. Under the current policy, all farmers who take bank loans to pay for crops have to buy insurance. The Indian government is estimating that about $97 billion in insurance claims are going to come in as a result of the drought. The Islamic State last night was reported to have blown up a major gas field in eastern Syria. They apparently caused a minor earthquake in nearby Palmyra, Syria. The Syrian government, such as it is, has been fighting the Islamic State since it retook the town of Palmyra. The Share oil fields, about 30 miles to the north, have changed hands a number of times. Yesterday afternoon, a series of major explosions were heard, and a 4.4 earthquake on the Richter scale was registered. It appears that the ISIS fighters apparently had blown up the field's pumping stations, which then caused the entire gas field to ignite. ISIS said that if they were unable to control and own the fields, they would ensure that they were denied use by any other faction. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.